Battle Pope, does whatever the Battle Pope does. Does he swing from a web? No, he can't, cause he's the Pope. Oh yeah, there goes the Battle Pope. It is Pope Mobile. There goes the Battle Pope. At the heat of the night, at the scene of the crime, he is there to forgive. Battle Pope's master plan is to convert every single man. And that's all I have.
With his holy hand grenades.
You ruined it.
No, I didn't. You ruined it. Hello and welcome all to Film Play.
A show dedicated to film and play.
Mostly play.
No, mostly film.
Mostly play.
Film.
Fuck you. My name is Justin Weber.
And I'm Todd.
Just Todd.
Yeah. Just Todd.
It's like Cher.
Yes.
Gotcha. So we'd like to introduce you all, one and all, to Film Play, where we talk about all things love, film, media in general. And today, we're talking about superheroes. Because, by God, that's not oversaturated. That's not over-fucking saturated.
Sexy men wearing sexy tights. For our pleasure.
Yes. Screw the women. We just got sexy men. Sexy tights.
And we brought up this idea because we saw Black Panther.
And you know something? It was good.
Yes, it was.
I wouldn't say it's the end-all, be-all that a lot of people are trying to say it is. But Black Panther is still a pretty solid movie.
It's Marvel. That's the best way to put it. It is a Marvel film for Marvel fans. New and old.
Yeah. Made by what I hope to be Marvel fans. And I would say that it, in my opinion, it does stand on the upper echelon of Marvel movies. Like, I really like how it did not follow the recent trend of, like, basically with the Guardians of the Galaxy setup. Because you really think about it, every single movie in 2017, has followed that comedic tropes. Yeah. Like, you had Doctor Strange. You had Spider-Man. Of course, you had Guardians 2.
Spider-Man...
You had Thor Ragnarok.
Spider-Man's different because he is a teenager.
That's true, but...
And Doctor Strange, it had the humor, but it wasn't the same humor that Thor had and Guardians had, in my opinion.
That's true, but it was still too funny.
Yeah.
I feel like we did kind of need to get back to basics where it's just like, yeah, we have a serious story, but only some jokes. Yeah, you can have humor. You can have that comedic levity. But at the end of the day, you need to tell a gripping story. And I feel like they constantly try too hard to just completely undercut all of the dramatic tension in most of these movies. And, again, it does work for comedic effect, but eventually that just kind of gets tired.
It didn't... I disagree with you with Doctor Strange and Spider-Man. Thor is one of my problems that I had with it.
Funny enough, I actually didn't mind Thor. Like, I feel like that's what Thor needed. Like, I feel like it worked in Thor, it worked in Guardians. I didn't mind it in Spider-Man. Doctor Strange is where I personally had the problem with it.
I didn't. I just think that the jokes worked, and when the big fight scene came at the end where
that was cool.
He kept going back in time.
But here's my thing. I'm not saying the jokes didn't work.
Yeah.
My problem was it just... this was basically like an interdimensional threat, but still, it felt like the stakes were, again, just undercut. Like, it was just basically cut at the knees. Like, with things like Spider-Man, that's a smaller scale story. I can deal with that. Guardians, Guardians was set up to be a comedy. I can deal with that. For some reason, it just bugged me with Doctor Strange.
It didn't with me. It bugged me in Thor.
but not Doctor Strange.
But not Doctor Strange.
I love how we're complete opposites. Because frankly, Thor Ragnarok is one of my top Marvel movies. Though granted, some of the humor in it I didn't like the big anus, or I liked, what was his name, the big rock guy.
Yeah.
What was his name?
Quark.
I like Quark, or Quark, whatever the hell you want to call him. But there were some times that his humor was just unwelcome. Like at the very end, when everyone's sitting there watching this, basically watching their whole homeworld explode, and then all of a sudden, he just comes in and makes this stupid joke. It's like, dude, this could have been a great, powerful scene. I feel like that ultimately, encapsulates exactly what I'm talking about when I say undercut. Like, that could have been an amazing scene. And it was a good scene up until that moment.
I'm so weird about that scene because I understand why they did it. Because here's a guy who's been pretty much a gladiator all his life. So he has to look on the best of what life gives him. So the joke kind of worked, but I kind of agree with you too. It's like if they would have left it silent, I think it would have been a much more...
Yeah. It's like I didn't mind Quark's character. I didn't mind his jokes until that point.
Yeah.
And can I just also point out, I find it interesting how... what's the best way I can put it? How Marvel and DC both are constantly trying to go back and, reinvent themselves every movie, or, every couple of movies. Like, first you had Marvel, and, they were a little bit more down to earth, and then they started doing every movie was, this big galactic threat. It was somewhat comedic, still had the serious tones, went to seriously comedic, and now I feel like Black Panther, they're starting to get kind of back to form. And with DC, of course, they're going from serious, and then they did a little more comedic movies, especially with Justice League, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, that was a little bit too much. There needs to be a good balance. Yeah. Movies I feel like that have good balance are like the Iron Man movies. I feel like those had a good balance. I feel like Avengers had a good balance. I do feel like Black Panther had a very good balance. I feel like what else had a pretty good balance? I can't think of another one, honestly.
My problem that I had with Justice League's humor, I felt like it broke the characters.
It did.
Here's Batman. He gets pushed aside. He goes, "Oh, I'm gonna feel that."
Yeah.
That's not Batman.
Yeah, or just what they've already established as these characters. This was already meant to be dark and gritty. So if you're gonna do it, you've already locked yourself in. You can't tone correct. You can course correct, but you can't tone correct.
I feel like Justice League was trying to do
is be Avengers.
No. Kind of, but
of course it was.
I feel like they wanted to be a heavy metal music video.
They wanted to be Gwar, I feel like.
Gwar or Metalocalypse.
Yeah. It's metal and hardcore, but still, a lot of the goofiness they completely recognize.
Yeah. All right. But I want to say one thing about Black Panther. I like the movie. But by God, it felt like every other Marvel movie.
Why do you say that?
Here's Black Panther. Here comes the villain. The villain feels like he's worthy to be, the Black Panther. And then the end fight scene, it's two Black Panthers fighting.
Well, I actually really like Killmonger as a character.
I love Killmonger.
Right.
But I had a problem. I
with
felt like
name.
Killmonger... No, not even I didn't bother the name. But I felt like he was what's his name from first Iron Man movie?
Justin Hammer?
No, the other one.
Ironmonger.
Yeah, Jeffrey...
Whatever the hell his name was. He didn't matter because he was unimportant.
Yeah, I felt like...
He's unimportant in that movie. He's unimportant since.
Here's Iron Man. It was he felt like he should be running the company. He felt he should have the iron suit. And in the last scene, it's, last big fight scene, it's those two in an iron suit.
Right.
Incredible Hulk. The government feels like they should be the Incredible Hulk.
And then they make Abomination.
And they make the Abomination, and it's two Hulks.
Yeah.
Ant-Man, same thing.
Yellow Jacket.
And with Black Panther, I just if it wasn't two Black Panthers fighting.
Okay, actually stop here there real quick. Captain America and Winter Soldier. Kinda. Gotta have to agree with that one in terms of going along that.
Yes and no. Because there was a bigger picture with that one.
That's true, but if you really want to get down just like the basic concept, kinda. It's the Russian versus the American. This was the Cold War.
Without being in the Cold War.
Without being the Cold War.
But that's how I really felt about it. If they didn't if it was two different people if it wasn't both of them in the Black Panther suit.
Yeah.
I would have been okay.
Right.
I would have given it a complete A, 4 stars. But it kind of took me out, and I gave it 3.
I feel like it was good because in terms of doing like that dark self-reflection kind of story, I feel like it works so much better because you had some humanity behind the villain. Like, this is a person who actually did feel worthy of the Black Panther mantle. Yeah, he was an asshole and he did things, kind of in a very dickish way. He did some crappy shit, but for what he believed for his own good morals. As opposed to everybody else who's just like, evil businessman doing evil because money. Swear to God, I'm just waiting for the day where we just get a Marvel villain with just the twirly mustache.
I want that. I want a team of evil twirling mustache.
I want to be a part of it. That's honestly one of my ultimate dreams. Is I want to get in just like a dapper suit, grow a mustache. Like, I could get a fake one, but honestly, I want the authenticity. I want to grow it out. I want to twirl it. I want to go the full 9 yards. And I want to take a girl and I just want to strap her to some railroad tracks, just tie her down, just go like, and then just let her go.
I wouldn't let her go until she gave me the D to her house.
What if she doesn't have a house? What if she has an apartment?
I guess she's screwed.
Just like, put me on your lease. I need a place to stay.
I have a twirling mustache. It doesn't get many jobs.
Or women. Why do you think I had to kidnap you? I mean, wouldn't you hire somebody like that who just had a twirly mustache? I mean, that I feel like that's a guy who gets stuff done.
Yeah, because he doesn't have a job. Exactly. He has a twirly mustache. And he wears a top hat and wears a cape.
Yeah. I mean, clearly he had to get some money from somewhere. Clearly the guy's a hard worker. I mean, he went as far as to take a woman and tie her to some railroad tracks. I feel like that's a man with some ambition.
I got to show you one of my short films that I made a while ago. And it was like, he goes and he finds the hero, and he's twirling aloud with his mustache. Very early stuff, so it's crap.
Even the later stuff is crap, let's be real.
Oh, yeah. Watch my 48-hour film festival if you want to see crap. But he goes up to the hero and is like, I got the deed. And he just takes the deed. He goes, no, you don't. And it just adds with him being really sad.
Okay, so going in the line of the superhero movies and the superhero genre, because both of us are pretty hardcore established comic book fans.
Yeah.
For God's sakes, you manage a comic book shop.
That's failing.
It's closing in like 2 weeks. I'm sorry.
We're
laughing, but the depression's real. But here's my question. What are some of your favorite movies? It's like comic book related movies. It doesn't have to be superheroes.
Logan, for sure.
Which was one of our best picks of last year.
I know this is going to be a weird take, but I love the 1966 Batman movie. It got all 4 of the villains together. They added much more chemistry with everybody.
Wait, who was in that movie? It was Penguin,
Riddler, Catwoman, and Joker.
Okay.
And then Winter Soldier. I think with the Batman 66, it was a lot of humor. It was cheesy. It was fun. I grew up with it.
Yeah. It's that nostalgia.
And it was bigger.
It's that nostalgia. And just, frankly, as much as people say, like, oh, Campy's so stupid, Campy's fun. Campy's really fun.
And when he's running around with a bomb going, some days you can't get rid of a bomb.
Yeah.
That's
freaking
funny.
Shark repellent. Come on. It gave us shark repellent.
Yeah.
For the love of God.
But, talk about Winter Soldier and Logan, I didn't feel like they were superhero movies.
Right. Especially, like, Winter Soldier is, like, I personally agree. That is hands down, my favorite superhero movie of all time. Because, like you said, it's not a superhero movie. It's an espionage thriller.
Yeah.
with superheroes in it. I feel like those make the best superhero movies because, don't focus on the superpowers, don't focus on the super characters, focus on the characters in these unique or in these harrowing situations that, would just make generally good movies.
And I like not Civil War, Winter Soldier.
I love Civil War.
I hate Civil War. But with Winter Soldier, you have Captain America trying to fit in. And I like that. You didn't get that in the Avengers. It was like, here's your shield, go off and fight the aliens.
Yeah.
But Winter Soldier, it's like, he had to figure a way to fit in and try not to be, 1930s, gee willikers, He realized that the world has changed, and he has to figure out a way to change with it.
Yes. No more punching Nazis, because that's not considered politically correct. See, I will say, I do love Civil War. I wouldn't say it's in my top. It's very, very, very close. Because here's why I love Civil War. Is because, well, like most people, it's a damn good movie. It's got some good twists to it. And again, it feels more like this. It just feels like it's so natural in terms of breaking these characters down, and that's the main reason I love it, is because of the characters. Seeing them at their absolute worst.
My problem with the movie is Captain America was right.
Which, ironically enough, in the book, Mark Millar, the writer, blatantly came out and said, Iron Man was right. It's like, why would you write that? It's like, if you're trying to write, a conflicting story about conflicting morals, but you're sitting there the entire time in your head saying, he's right. That's a one-sided fight.
I think Iron Man is right, because I generally believe that there should be regulations against superheroes and, people with superpowers. That's one of the reasons why I don't really like X-Men a whole lot, because the government's right.
But at the same time, they shouldn't go around and,
build giant robots.
Yeah, that's kind of a problem. I can see, everybody's stupid in comics. That's the problem. Everybody's stupid.
I'm Batman. My parents were killed. I'm just going to wear a cape and cowl and fight crime.
Don't forget leather and bat nipples.
Bat nipples? With a bat credit card.
Fuck batarangs. Bat credit cards! Everybody go buy yourself something. That's how we're going to defeat the villains. We're going to make them less poor. I'm just going to give them the money. They don't have to rob banks. I'm just going to give you the money.
I hate villains that, want to, grab all the gold in the world, because their plan doesn't make sense, because then the gold's going to be worthless.
Yes! Or, I want to get all the money in the world, or it's just like, hey, I'm going to destroy the world unless you give me all the money. Okay, if one, that's going to make all the money worthless. Two, you kind of exist in the world, too. How do you plan to survive through that? And even if you were to die, well, then you live in a fucking barren wasteland there, numbnuts.
Well, Gotham City is a barren wasteland.
That's true. Go right across the river to the shining beacon of Metropolis. That is a damn good night and day story right there. Let's just talk about Gotham and Metropolis in general. That just needs to be a movie of itself.
I love how, Gotham is a shithole, and Metropolis is this golden sunshine, but yet the villains in Metropolis can, blow up the town in seconds.
But they also have Superman. I feel like there's a hidden story going on that nobody really knows about, where Superman is actually a dictator. Because nobody knows.
He runs Metropolis with an iron fist.
Secretly. He's like
and he just lets the villains escape so he can stay in power. Love me! If you don't, I'm just going to release them.
But yeah, I was gonna say my top three movies. I totally say Logan. I totally say Civil War. But I feel like those ones are a little bit too easy. So my top three, of course, gonna be Winter Soldier, because I gotta give it to Winter Soldier. I gotta give it to Spider-Man 2, because it's the ultimate story of what it means to choose to be a hero. And that, I feel like, is the ultimate, the ultimate message to be a hero. Is it's not something you can force yourself to do. It's not something you can just fall into. It's something you have to choose.
I think it's the perfect melodrama.
It kind of is.
It's the hero comes in there, saves the day, the villain shows up, kidnaps the girl, and he saves the day.
The villain, or did you say the hero kidnaps the girl?
Yes. Well, we all know what he does with that webbing. The villain kidnaps the girl. I mean, and you get these great fight scenes. I mean, to this day, I still think that the fight scene on the train is one of the best.
Right, and I don't care what anybody says. I actually like Spider-Man 3. I really do. Especially Sandman. I love Sandman as a villain. And look at that. We got another train scene. What is with train movies and scenes recently? Like, we got The Commuter. We got Paddington 2, Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3. What is with movies and trains? There was one in Wolverine, too.
The Wolverine?
The Wolverine.
Okay, I never saw the Wolverine.
Yeah, there's a train scene in there.
Is it with a bullet train?
I think so.
And then you got Super Sentai.
We'll talk about that later. There's a whole season based around trains. And my third one I gotta say is, I kind of want to do like an animated one here. I really love Return of the Joker from Batman Beyond.
Mm-hmm. I think the majority of the DC animated stuff is really good.
Oh, it's amazing, especially like from the Bruce Timm era.
Yeah,
like it's brilliant, and the twist at the end is one of like the most mind-fucking things ever. Like seriously,
no, I agree.
It's a mind fuck, and like the explanation leading up to it, and how they tie in like one of these, what I personally believe to be like one of the most twisted stories in all of DC, that doesn't involve murder. I take that back. Okay, that it doesn't inherently revolve around like, okay, so this character murders a bunch of babies or something. No, nothing like that. Like somebody does die, but it doesn't like revolve around, this person killed some people, but I still think it's pretty fucked up.
Oh yeah, I mean spoiler alert, he kidnapped Tim Drake and makes him the Joker.
Yeah. So let me get this straight. He kidnapped Jason Todd, and kidnapped Tim Drake, and turned him into Well,
Jason Todd's not in the Bruce Timm universe.
That's true, but I'm saying kidnaps Jason Todd, kidnaps Tim Drake at some point. What did he do with Dick Grayson? What did he do with Dick?
If you read the comic book that's based off of it, he pretty much becomes Nick Fury. He has an eye patch and everything.
Dick becomes Nick?
Dick becomes Nick Fury.
Nick becomes Dick in the nick of time?
Yes.
Dick in the nick of time. Okay, so going off of our favorites, I want to talk about our least favorites. I'm only gonna mention one though.
Okay.
It's not Batman versus Superman. I really want to, but that's too easy. Like Batman versus Superman, Man of Steel, yeah, it's just too easy. Of course, they're horrible movies. They are objectively bad movies. But there's a movie out there that I freaking hate so much, and I'm surprised more people don't hate it. And every time I tell people this, it becomes a very divisive opinion, but I hate Watchmen. I hate the Watchmen movie. It has kept me from even reading the original comic. I hate Watchmen. It is so damn grimdark and dour, and it doesn't need to be, and the characters are stupid. They suck. I just hate Zack Snyder's work. I mean, he seems like a great guy, but I don't like his work. It's all so cookie cutter. And it's like, I've read interviews where he's basically said, yeah, all superhero movies need to be grimdark. Like every one needs to involve freaking dark murder, blood, scorn, rape, and bullshit. And I'm just like, oh my god, dude, do you understand what comics are about? They're not just the Rob Liefeld era of comics. Come on.
You might hate The Watchmen then, if that's your problem with it.
What was that?
If you're going to hate The Watchmen, then the book, if that's your problem.
But at least I can get behind Alan Moore, and I can get behind some intrinsic themes. But there's another thing, is how freaking Zack Snyder is such a pretentious son of a bitch in terms of his writing. It is,
If it wasn't for the really cool intro in Watchmen, I might agree.
Cool. That was pretty cool.
Times they are changing.
What's your hate? What movie do you hate among the
Green Lantern?
Of course.
I got a funny story to tell about that one. So I go to this early preview of Green Lantern, and Warner Brothers executives type people were there. They
were?
Yeah, it was like a preview showing to see what the audience would like.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And as I walk out, they ask me and my friend Peter, how was the movie? And I went, I want my money back. And it was free. I mean, it did not help at all that it was in front row 3D glasses. But it really didn't help at all when they got an actor to come in there dressed up as the Green Lantern and made everyone do the Green Lantern oath.
Oh, you told about that.
And I'm just like, no. But my problem with Green Lantern was it was made right after Iron Man. And they were trying very hard to make Ryan Reynolds.
Because he's
Ryan
only
Reynolds.
ever a rental.
Yeah.
You cannot buy Ryan Reynolds. He is only a rental.
But they try to make him like Robert Downey Jr.
They really do.
And it was just like, they're trying to make this guy like Iron Man. And it's like, that's not who Hal Jordan is. And when you're trying to copy somebody who isn't that, and you're trying to make your movie like a Marvel movie, which clearly it shouldn't have been, you're going to have problems. Right. And it didn't help that, the studio was coming in there and changing things up. You had the director wanting to do his own thing. You had the writer doing his own thing. And it just became a big, giant mess.
So it's just like the DCU.
Yeah. But worse.
Oh, dear God.
At least the DCU, you had at least one person behind it. It just didn't make any sense.
I love how everybody used to say, like right as like some movies like Deadpool were coming out, everyone's like saying like, oh, Ryan Reynolds has always been like this hot shit actor. It's like, he really wasn't. Like, let's be real. Deadpool kind of made his career what it is right now.
He was big on sex comedy.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
and he's a funny actor. He just doesn't get many good roles. Like, I thought Hitman's Bodyguard was like perfect in concept. It was basically a buddy cop movie between Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson, but it somehow just wasn't funny.
Yeah.
That pissed me off. It's like, you can tell they're really trying. They're really trying. They just don't have good material to work with.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
So let's talk about some of the books that we want to see adapt.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Let's start with Marvel.
Oh, you want to start with Marvel?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's two I really want to see.
Okay.
The first one, I'm gonna get my ultra biased pick out of the way here. I'm gonna say She-Hulk. I don't want a She-Hulk movie. I want a She-Hulk TV show. I want 10 seasons of it. Just all greenlit at the same time, all like 30 episodes long, because I just want to be She-Hulk so oversaturated to the point where I hate her. Come back in a few years, I'm like, why did I ever hate this show? I love this show again. I love She-Hulk. She's so near and dear to my heart, and I feel like she was kind of like the prototype to the current modern day Deadpool, and I feel like she could really, 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 really work well. Especially with as I was saying before, how Marvel really wants to push the comedy aspect in their movies. I feel like you really, really work with her.
I think it would be really cool. I think if they did it as a parody of Daredevil,
that'd be amazing.
I think it would completely work, because that's how I look at She-Hulk. She's Daredevil, but as the Hulk.
Yeah.
Can you just imagine her just walking around downtown New York, all green, and be like,
everyone's just like, the fuck, and other people are just like, yeah. I mean, they've already introduced Hellcat.
yeah.
I feel like, fuck Jessica Jones, just give Hellcat over to She-Hulk series.
But I love it to be a parody of Daredevil, but also make it a courtroom drama.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Like, maybe one season it's courtroom drama, the second season she's out on the street, third season she's teaming up with people, kicking ass and taking names.
My question is, like, how they do her origin, especially if they can't really, like, because, getting Mark Ruffalo is going to be a lot of money.
I bet you it's not going to be as much as you think. I mean, you make it a cameo, or you introduce her in one of the movies.
That'd be great. I don't know. All I know is I want She-Hulk as my bias pick, but here's what I also want. I want the story Secret Invasion made, because Civil War, as the comics, was not very good. Secret Invasion is absolutely abysmal. They made Civil War this goddamn good. What could they do with Secret Invasion? With such an amazing concept, but the fact that it was so jam-packed and oversaturated with just complete nonsense and, twists, like this twist and that twist, and this twist was on this twist, and this twist turned around to this twist, and that twist, and twist. I felt like I was playing fucking Twister.
Okay, so I agree with you and I disagree with you. Okay, I would love to see it be adapted. I think, and I highly recommend, if you really like the concept of Secret Invasion, I recommend Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
Oh, I've seen it. It's really good.
And that
that's where they did it
storyline,
right. They did it right there.
My problem with it is you got it. You can't have it be Captain America as the Skrull.
Right.
You got to make it. I don't even think Iron Man. You got to make it the very likable hero, because Captain America is no longer likable. He's a traitor. So yeah, you probably would have to make it be Iron Man be the Skrull.
Right.
Which I think would be really interesting, because he's the one with the business and the the business and the weapon manufacturing. Hey, and I can't speak today.
Manufacturer.
Yeah. So that would be interesting, as he's building weapons again that he said he would stop doing.
Yeah. I feel like it could really work.
Yeah.
What do you want to see from Marvel?
I got 3 ideas. Okay. I'm going to talk about my first idea. I want them to do something with Howard the Duck. I don't know if I want a movie per se, but I want him to be more present in the Marvel Universe. And I think the best thing that you can do is just put him in the background, and he's just walking in the background, and someone says, "Is that a walking duck?" Like, Tony Stark just looks at Thor and is like, "Is that a duck?" Or, shit's going down, the city's being blown up, and Howard the Duck just jumps up, saves a civilian, drops her, walks away, and the civilian's like, "Was that a duck?" Like, make it be Stan Lee. Like, he saves Stan Lee. It's like, "Was that a duck?"
Make this the Infinity War cameo.
And I really want it to end. Like, at some point, I want the end credit scenes with Howard the Duck. I want 2 end credits. One, it's Howard the Duck, and he goes and sees the original Howard the Duck movie. And at the very end, he walks out of the theater and goes, "What the fuck was that?" And then the second one is Howard the Duck sees Nick Fury, and he goes, "So I heard you're making a team." Nick Fury goes, "No." But no. "I'm a master." "No. You're a duck."
Fuck you, duck.
Pretty much. So that's how I feel what they need to do with Howard the Duck. Just little views here and there of him saving the day, but no one's giving him any respect whatsoever. I like to see Spider-Verse. Now, I understand there's going to be like this Miles Morales animated movie. I don't know anything about it yet, so I don't know how faithful it is going to be to the adaptation. And I really don't want it to be that faithful. I just want Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland to be in the same movie, being Spider-Man.
All teaming up and getting the spotlight.
Yeah, with the Japanese Spider-Man.
Yes.
And maybe the Broadway Spider-Man.
No, we need the Japanese Spider-Man, and we need his giant mech to appear.
I think that would be like the best, like at the big fight scene at the end, and then just the giant mech just shows up at the end. Right. Be like, "I heard you're getting a team of Spider-Men together. I figured I could help." And then I want to see Secret Wars, the original.
Okay, yeah, I can kind of see that. I feel like it could work pretty well as a movie.
And I feel like that's the perfect opportunity to put the Netflix shows and the TV show in.
Yeah. Throw like the Hulu and the Freeform and all that. Just get the whole hodgepodge in there for the first time.
Yeah.
And the last time probably.
In that movie. And that's all,
Yeah, I can see that. What do you want to see in terms of DC?
Infinite Crisis. Or something of that. Maybe not Infinite Crisis, because I think Infinite Crisis is a little bit
it's too big, because like
at the moment it's too big, and you still have small universes.
Right, because if you were to start doing Infinite Crisis right off the bat like it is, you're basically taking the whole problem with DC of working backwards, and you're really scaling that up.
But I think maybe the search for Ray Palmer.
Right, it's like everybody search it, like jumping between
different universes. Because what I want is Ben Affleck to meet Michael Keaton, to meet Val Kilmer, to meet George Clooney.
You know what I want? I want Henry Cavill to be Christopher Reeves, and he just rolls up in a wheelchair.
But I want the Flashes to meet. I want them to know that there is a multiverse within the movies. And maybe what it could be, the first one is they introduce the multiverse, and the second one they realize it's falling apart. Right. So the second one would be Infinite Crisis. Right. But I want to see Linda Carter back as Wonder Woman.
I was actually going to say that.
I want to see Dean Cain as Superman back. I want to see both the Atom from Legends of Tomorrow also being Superman. Both Supergirls too.
So I really want to see. I really want to see The Long Halloween, because I feel like it's it's a much more contained story. It doesn't need to be anything grandiose. It's a really good murder mystery story that you can. It would work well with Batman, especially, and it's like you want to keep introducing the villains the way you have. Do The Long Halloween. That sets up Two-Face. It sets up Solomon Grundy. It sets up all these characters. But in the reality, the villain is so much smaller. And I feel like that is what Batman right now needs. Is he needs to be shrunk down and he needs to be scaled down, because it's kind of what ultimately Batman is. Yeah, he's been on all these huge adventures, but at the end of the day, he is like a street level hero. And I really want Catwoman in there.
Yeah, I think Batman Hush would be even better.
That's true, but I feel like starting with The Long Halloween and moving up to Hush should be pretty good,
because you can now introduce the romance with Catwoman, and you can bring in one of my favorite villains, the Riddler,
right,
and make him a threat.
Right. So in terms of like other, I feel like not the big two. I feel like a couple of ones that'd be really good. I love, and I know you agree with me on this. I want to see Saga made into an animated TV show, and I want it to be equally as raunchy and vulgar. Mm-hmm. Don't overdo it.
Welcome to Abortion Town, everybody. Yeehaw!
And I really want to see the guy who made Arrival make
Black Science.
Black Science. I think he would do perfectly with that movie.
Yeah. For people who don't know, Saga is this
space opera.
Space opera like Romeo and Juliet.
It's like Star Wars meets Romeo and Juliet meets American Pie.
And it's about these two people. They give birth to a child, and they're trying to outrun the space empire type war.
Because one's from this one planet, and it's on this huge galactic war with its own moon, and two soldiers basically go AWOL, have a kid together, and now they are really, really wanted criminals.
And Black Science is about a guy who wants to find the perfect universe, so he could have the cure for everybody, but the company that's making the machine doesn't want that. So they sabotage the machine halfway through the adventure, and now he's trying to get back home, going through different portals to different universes.
Yes. And going on these kooky adventures.
I would like to see Dark Ark. It's a new comic book that recently came out, written by Colin Bunn.
I really want to read it.
And it's pretty much, you find out there is another Ark, and besides Noah's Ark. And on this Dark Ark, it's all the mythical creatures.
It's like the griffins and the dragons and all this shit.
And it's them trying to control the creatures on the ship, and also trying to find a safe home.
Right.
It's phenomenal. I highly recommend it. I think that's the only one I can really recommend. There's a couple. I would like to see Letter 44 be adapted.
There's definitely a few good ones in there, but I feel like we're kind of running out of time here, so we should really try and wrap up. But before we go, we really want to do something in terms of, we really want to go through and start recommending good pieces of media, and this could be comic books, it could be literature, this could be anime, movies, whatever we want to do. The only rule is that it cannot be super recent. Like if I had to recommend anything like right now is super recent, of course I go with things like Shape of Water. I really like Paddington,
Black Panther for this week's theme.
But of course we already viewed that. But Todd, what did you want to share?
Well, I brought The League of Regrettable Superheroes by John Morris. It's a phenomenal book about all the weird superheroes, but not the BuzzFeed ones, like Farms Falling Off Lad, the common ones. These are the really weird ones, like Detective Eye, who's this giant eyeball detective that can melt steel, or The Funny Man, which was the creators of Superman, created a comedian superhero, and he goes around and he stops criminals through gags.
I kind of like the jokester from like Dwell Dan's father. I know it's probably a BuzzFeed one, but I really like Dog Welder. No, you know who's even better? Danny the Street.
That I want there to be a Dog Welder movie so bad. Or Danny the Street movie If they do a Danny at the Street movie,
Make it what's his name? Who's the guy from Rocky Horror Picture Show?
Tim Curry.
Thank you. It needs to be Tim Curry.
10 years ago, yes, I would totally agree with you. 10 years ago, I don't think he could do good now.
Oh. Fucking make it Bill Skarsgård. They both were it. Okay, come on, let's just do this.
But I want him to have the Green Lantern ring too.
So my pick is, as most people know, I'm a huge Power Rangers fan. Like that's my thing. That's my thing. And I really wanted to recommend this one particular season. If you've never watched Power Rangers, or if you're even looking to get into the Japanese version of Power Rangers, which is Super Sentai, every season is separate. They all have their own stories. I really want to recommend the season from a few years ago called Resha Sentai Tokyuger. And it's basically about this group of amnesiac teens, or like young adults, who ride around on this imaginary train called the Rainbow Line. It's fueled by imagination. And their conductor is this guy who loves, and I mean loves, to scream out, "Imagination!" Just like that, like every other fucking minute. And he's around a hand puppet, a sentient monkey puppet that's also dressed like a little conductor. His name is Ticket. And it's just so ridiculous. And
what's wrong with you?
No, my favorite character is the Sixth Ranger. He's the Orange Ranger. One of the first Orange Rangers we had since the very beginning of Super Sentai. And his whole thing is, he used to be one of the monsters, which are part of what's called the Shadow Line. His whole thing is he made it rain. He made it rain a lot. And his other thing is, after he became a good guy, he was really super suicidal. Every time he walked into a fight, he was just like, "This will be my last fight. This is where I die." He always did it super dramatically. And you found out the reason of his first episode why he found out why he wants to kill himself is because he was really repentant over like his evil deeds. And what he did is he made things rain, and then he ruined people's days. That's literally how they do it too. It's just like he made it rain on people's picnics. It's just like their family outings. And then one day he saw the most beautiful rainbow and his heart turned to good. This guy's my favorite character and I love him. Hell,
out of all the seasons of Super Sentai that you could choose from, you choose what I think is the dumbest premise ever.
But here's the thing, and it's also one of the darkest because it also has which you later find. Oh yeah, one more thing. I was gonna say it has you find out the Rangers are all actually kids that were forcibly turned into adults. Because it turns out their hometown, which is what they're searching for, it's the first town that it's the first town that was taken over by the Shadow Line. And they're constantly hopping between town to town at these different stations to find it. And basically the only reason why they weren't, killed is because they had the strongest imaginations as kids. And then you also have themes of like pride as a warrior. You have, like I said, things like the themes of good warrior's death. You have forced marriages. Like you have themes of rape in there. You have themes of schizophrenia. You have, these really intricate themes
for kids.
Yeah. And it's really, really good season. But the thing is, you have to watch more than this first couple episodes. Like, if it doesn't hook you in the first few episodes with its comedy, because it's fucking hilarious. It's fucking hilarious. You're probably not going to like it.
It's not like you just look at me like, you're not going to like it.
But if you're able to get through the entire thing, you're going to be like, Jesus fucking Christ. Oh, there's one more thing. There's this character in there who, like, runs, like, the whole shebang in terms of, like, the good guy's Rainbow Line. And he's, I forget exactly what his name is, but he's, like, he's basically this guy with a giant pink bunny head. And it's like, it's not like his literal head. Like you actually could tell it's like some kind of mask or helmet, but he never takes it off. And nobody ever questions it either. It's so fucking ridiculous.
Now, can you imagine how they will adapt that into Power Rangers?
Well, here's the great thing. I really hope they do, because they actually skipped a couple seasons. They went from Super Mega Force, Kaizoku Sentai Gokaiger, and they skipped Go Busters. They went to Kyoryuger with Dino Charge. They skipped Tokyuger, and they went to Ninja Steel with Ninja. They're now going back, and they're doing Go Busters, which makes me think, are they now going to do... are they going to do Tokyuger next? Which is a little bit questionable, because a big reason why Go Busters and Tokyuger, and a big reason why Zyuohger, the 40th season, the 40th anniversary season of Sentai, was rumored to get skipped, was because of toy sales. Like Go Busters, they didn't really have much of a gimmick. Tokyuger's trains. Tokyuger's just freaking trains. And
if anything can make trains popular, I think it could be Power Rangers.
Probably, at least in the West. And then Zyuohger is basically just blocks, just cubes. And like all their mechs and everything were just like basically unfolded. It's like they're not like origami. No, I mean they're legitimately blocks. And then they just unfold. One's a platypus. It's great. One's a zebra, and a giraffe, and a panda.
But we won't see the platypus because that was in the movie.
That was in the movie, unfortunately. But I think should that be a good place to wrap up?
I think it's a great place to wrap up.
Wrap up on Tokyuger trains.
So thank you for listening,
and thank you for watching. And I really, like we said, go get this book. Go watch yourself some Sentai. There's a new season of Super Sentai out right now called Lupin Ranger vs. Panther Ranger. It's only on episode 3, but by God, it's amazing. Go watch it. Just
every time you mention Lupin Ranger, all I'm thinking is Lupin the Third.
It's basically what it's based off of. It's what it's based off of.
Which, by the way, I recommend Lupin the Third if you haven't seen that either.
Lupin the Third's really good. All right.
Yeah, especially the live-action movie. So we'll end it there. Have a good night.
Good night, everybody. And cut.